Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima, and I'm here checking out Blind Drive, and I'd rather spend as little time talking about it and as much time letting you listen to it as possible, because Blind Drive is a one gimmick game, and a few of these do exist, and the idea being that they take this one idea and push it as far as they can go with it in order to be, well, interesting, and this game certainly is interesting. So, you've been kidnapped, you've been locked into a car, you're handcuffed to the wheel, and you've got a blindfold on. So, you have to drive down the road, avoid the cars, and pray to God you can make it to the end of the quite short story-based campaign, because if you play this game on normal and take about the same amount of time I did, you'll get through it in about 2 hours, but towards the end I dropped it down to easy, just to make sure I could get through in a, well, not so much a reasonable time frame, but I was just kind of getting a little frustrated, so I finished it in about an hour and 40 minutes, but yeah, 2 hours sounds about reasonable. And throughout those 2 hours, the game will throw everything it's got at you, because it does have a really neat set of ideas to make the gameplay just that little bit sweeter. And I don't want to talk about too many of them, because talking about them kind of just spoils the surprise, you know? You never know exactly what it's going to throw at you next, but I'll tell you my personal favorite, which also doesn't go into how crazy this game can get from time to time, but the guy who has kidnapped you and stuck you in this car has put a GPS on you, on your car, I should say, and this GPS has an asshole mode, and it treats you exactly how you might expect an asshole GPS to treat you. It sounds almost like out of Cyberpunk 2077 or something, with just how ridiculous it is.
Yeah, man, cut out the creepy shit, okay?
Well, it's no fun if you're upset. Let's turn on the radio. Something to cheer you up.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me!
What's that? Can't hear you.
Fucking scientist, man!
Basic gameplay is pretty simple. You listen for sounds coming from your left or your right, and you turn to your left or your right. There are a couple of things that break this formula, but as I said, don't want to talk about them too much, constitutes as spoilers. And I will give them this, their audio design is really damn good. I had a good pair of headphones to play this on, so I was able to listen to it, I was able to hear cars coming from a long way away, I was able to hear them go by and fly back behind me. There's some cops that turn up from time to time that you have to ram off the road, and you can tell exactly when they're coming up next to you. And they do a really good job with the environmental sound effects, whether it be some rain or the ground underneath you changing from time to time. And, well, there is voice acting, but it's not so much good as it is ridiculously corny. So there is a plot to this game. I won't spoil it, because it goes just a bit too far into the surprises that the game has got for your territory. But basically everyone involved is freaking nuts, and every time the voices start playing, it's great. And you start really appreciating the main character. He starts out being really scared of this shit, but then later on, when he starts actively going after people, you can hear him be like, everything from relieved to starting to get annoyed to really enjoying knocking some people flat on their asses, and it's great. It's legitimately a good performance. Everyone else is a bit iffy, but it feels like the sort of Saturday morning cartoon performance that you would get out of a film that's not trying to take itself too seriously, and I'll appreciate it for that as well. There's only like 3 voiced characters, and then everyone else is just like a obstacle you have to dodge at some point in the game, but it's all really well done in that corny sort of way, and while if you like to take things seriously, you shouldn't appreciate this game at all, it's still fun to go on through and just play it. It's still fun to experience the story, it's still fun to experience the voice acting, Still fun to appreciate almost everything about it.
What the? Hey! The windows? Really?
I was worried you'd catch a cold.
Haha, haha. That's funny, man. Now open up.
Or worse, I never let little Danushka get an ear infection.
Hey! This is going too far!
You're welcome.
We're supposed to be done by now. Okay. Concentrate.
The gameplay can be very accurate, though. You do need to be very on the ball in order to avoid some of these cars sometimes. You get very little warning to get out of the way, especially when it starts coming down to things like the GPS that I was telling you about. And going in the wrong direction will cost you a life, 3 lives and you're down, but you can recover them by running into ice cream trucks and bicycles, although funnily enough, ambulances do drive down the street and you think to yourself, shit, I should run into that, or give me some health back. Nope. Caught myself out doing that one. And for the most part, as I said, the sound design is good, and it makes the game a relatively reasonable challenge, but when they start throwing a lot of cars at you at once, some can start overriding others, even if they sound like they're in different ears. So you'll just be getting out of the way of one, you won't hear another one coming, and you'll take a hit. Or there's this one particular sound effect, this one particular car, because they use the same like 8 or 9 cars throughout the game, minus the special obstacles, right? And that one particular car comes in so quickly that I hit it almost every time. I could not tell you the exact details of it because a lot of the cars in this game do sound similar to each other, but there is this one car that just comes in way too quick and hits you way too fast, and I found myself hitting it almost every time. And it was a bit of a pain in the neck. It was the main reason why I turned the difficulty down, because when they start putting 6 or 7 cars right next to each other, and you have to weave in and out of them like a bloody maniac, if one of those cars comes up, you never hear it until you hit it, at least in my personal experience. Might be because I had the volume too low or something like that, but I had it about as loud as I could reasonably have it without hurting my ears from the sort of special things like crashes happening or the police coming up alongside you or something like that.
Turn right. Turn right. Turn right. Left. How about right?
Yeah, fuck you too.
Turn left. Let's see. Turn right. Now go right. How about left? Turn right. Let's see. Turn left. In 20 meters.
There is a blindfold mode that you can play, which makes the screen completely black, so you got no visual aid as to where you're steering or how far you've gone, and trust me, those don't matter anywhere near as much as you think they do. And as I said, there's also 3 difficulty levels, and there's achievements for getting through the entire game without losing all your lives once. Doable, but good luck. Decent challenge, but frankly, I'm fine having played it through just the once, because I was mainly there for what they were going to do with the story and the ways they were going to fiddle around with the gameplay. I saw all of them, and frankly, I was satisfied. I thought it was a good time. I legitimately had a fair bit of fun with Blind Drive. Really would like them to tune up that one particular car that comes in too quickly, but as I said, the soundscape is great. You can definitely hear it when, I was going to say hear and see, but that's not right. You can definitely hear when they're coming down to the sides of you. You can definitely get a sense of the atmosphere. The story and the voice acting are both a lot of fun in a really corny way, and I found it to be really enjoyable. And while it is only 2 hours long, I only paid $10 Australian for it, which, I mean, for me, that's alright. I enjoyed the game enough to justify that, but for some people, I can understand why that might be a deal breaker, and if that's a deal breaker for you, I would not recommend picking this up. But if you've got $10 US and 2 hours to spend going through a silly but really enjoyable game with a neat concept for a main gameplay mechanic, I'd wholeheartedly recommend Blind Drive. There you go. This has been Blue Maxima. I'll see you all next time.
Here's the taste. Let's spring it! Lay off me! Huh? Who sent you? Ben? Jerry? Cool, sweet. Finally, you corn-fed, pipe-licking, good-for-nothing... Oh, shit.